most.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 105 of Report This Post, the podcast about bad posts and bad people. My name is Geiger, and that is Christian.
You seen this? You heard about this?
And we are your hosts with the posts. Every week, Christian and I select a different topic and then find horrible posts for your listening pleasure. And this week's topic is stand-up comedy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The finest art form around stand-up comedy.
That peaked somewhere around, I'd say, 25 to 30 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that depends on a lot. I would say the popularity of it did, certainly. In terms of the talent, well, obviously.
I think. Excuse me.
Well, you know, we've yet to reach the peak. Depending on when my next great night is, that could be the peak of comedy.
Yeah, okay. All right. So let's dive into that.
All right. What are we doing here?
Well, I guess the COVID-19 has kind of put a damper on your moonlighting as a stand-up comic.
Explain to the folks at home what you're talking about.
Okay. Yes. So Geiger every so often will habitually go to open mic nights.
Habitually. Such a...
Well, you go in spurts.
What a way to describe my life.
You go in spurts. So he'll get a wild hair up his ass, and for about 4 weeks, he'll go hit up open mics. Doesn't want anyone to go. Doesn't want anyone to see him. Hates the experience the entire time. And then stops for about 2 months, and then does it again. So
2 months. It's usually about every 2 years based on on the previous. Yeah, because I did it. Went crazy in 2017, 2019. So next summer it's going to be a big one for me.
Look out, folks. Yeah.
First of all, I invited you to
you did
one of them, and I believe you were witness to. I think it was my second ever time doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It was in a record store here in Tampa.
Very small venue.
Yeah, and the kind where it was there's no stage of any sort. We were all on even footing.
Real uncomfortable.
It was you and your ex-wife your ex-wife of now, current wife at the time.
Yep.
And my current wife,
also
now,
your wife at the time,
was there. Yep. Yes. With our, I believe at the time, 9-month-old daughter or something?
Very, very young child.
So anyway, how'd I do? Do you remember?
The setting is that outside of the 4 people that you mentioned, everyone else inside the venue was also a stand-up comic.
Pretty much,
which made the energy in the room, I'd say, toxic would be a great way to put it.
See, well, first, you're being pretty generous by calling them stand-up comics, first of all. But that's what the couple dozen open mics that I've done. It's you and the other local open mic guys that everyone knows. The occasional first timer, you can tell. It's just. I remember one guy at one of these brought his whole family, and it was mom, dad, brothers and sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles. It was 10 people came with him, and they laughed like hell at him. Did not make a peep at anyone else, and then when he got off, they were just loudly talking to him while the other comedians went up. So
that's cool. It's
such a great environment for art, and very funny. As I've talked about in the past, when I would go over these experiences on the podcast, always was startled by how many people would go up with seemingly not even a concept of what a joke is or a punchline.
Any preparation whatsoever.
They would tell stories that were the kind that maybe get a laugh out of your closest friends, where they
right.
But
you had that you had to be there kind of things. Yes.
Yeah, not even that. Just and some of the just complete silence. I did well several times. But the times I didn't do well were especially dreadful. But mainly due to just, I would be in this big giant bar and there would be literally, I went to one open mic where I was the only one that went there for the open mic. And there was like 10 people in the bar and not one of them gave a shit about the open mic. So I'm just up there telling jokes to not even, somehow less than disinterest.
Just
like what?
Passively observing.
Not just yeah. It's if you're if you're at a TGI Fridays and you see CNN on one of the TVs, in the corner, you're not looking. You're looking at it, but you're not looking at it. And that's what I was to these. God. Oh my God. Yeah. So stand-up's not for the faint of heart.
A little rough trade is what you're saying. Yeah.
It took a long time for me to actually do it, and then got pretty comfortable with it, and then got over it so quickly. Just woke up one day, I was like, yeah, I don't give a shit about stand-up.
I remember the one time we were recording, and I was like, "When's your next thing?" You're like, "Oh, I'm not doing it anymore." I'm like, okay, yeah. All right.
But this week actually sort of inspired me a little bit more. Been some jokes and stuff. So once COVID breaks free, I should be ready to go get back into it. Hop back on that horse and tell unfunny jokes to unlistening people.
You heard it, folks. 2022 is going to be G-Man's big year here. So let's get it all. Let's get the hype built now. So.
Well, speaking of hype, folks, why don't we go ahead and get to some of the posts that we have, and I believe Christian's going to lead us off. Is that correct?
Yep, that's right. That's how this thing works. Great. So user Patchman71 asked our stand-up, do you consider it inappropriate for white comedians to tell jokes about black people and use the N-word? I have always laughed at jokes about Jewish people. I cannot remember seeing a comedian that wasn't Jewish telling a Jewish joke. Would it be offensive? If a white comedian told jokes about black people and uses the N-word a lot, like black comedians do, would they catch hell? I think I know the answer to this one.
Yeah, I think you do too.
LA Shotgun replied, I can't imagine anything funny coming from the mind that created that thought. Guy named Orion's Rebirth replied, have you not seen a Cat Williams set? Kevin Hart, Chris Rock? All their comedy is N-word do this, white man do this. So when Lampanelli, Schumer, Jeselnik, or Tosh goes on stage, is racial comedy free? I've heard N-words come out of each of their mouths most recently. Hell yeah, it is. I'm here to contribute to the conversation, not be your cheap laugh track. And LA Shotgun replied, you seem predisposed to point out the faults of others. Therefore, I think you are missing the entire point of comedy, to expose one's own faults to the world. In the words of Adam Carolla, you, sir, can have a good day. Twice.
Twice,
yeah.
Okay.
Nothing like doing a mic drop by quoting Adam Carolla.
That's a tough one to pull out and expect to just bring the gavel down on that one. We're gonna do a Carolla episode one day. He was I was obsessed with him as a youth. Obsessed with Adam Carolla. So one day we'll dive deep into that
murky pit. Yeah.
He is Italian, so yeah, pretty murky. Not a great argument by anyone here, I would say. No one's really doing great here.
And I think that'll be a thread throughout this episode is a lot of this back and forth banter that these so-called comedians, not great, not good.
I'm looking at Patchman71's profile now. Mm-hmm. The OP. He every single one of his threads are about comic book collecting. So, the specific type of pervert, certainly. doesn't understand racism, apparently. Which is not surprising considering that guy's biggest hobby, which is comic book collecting.
Okay, go on. What's your
Random
post?
69969 posted this to our stand-up, and it's on topic of our first post, folks. I fucked up and was racist at an open mic. I went to an open mic and told a joke where I said I found out that I was racist because when I watched porn, I didn't want to see a huge black dick take out a petite blonde. If I wanted to see that, I would have watched Animal Planet to see the giant python take out a blonde. I told that joke to my friends. It killed with them, but I knew I fucked up when I saw a black dude shake his head and say no. After that, it was just word vomit, and I left halfway through. Man, I didn't want to be an asshole, period, but shit, I fucked up right when I said the Animal Planet because it just sounded like I'm comparing black people to animals when I was just trying to compare a big black dick to a python size-wise, not because black people are animals. User The Low Classics offered some, I think is actually pretty good advice. He said, this story is a better joke than the joke. So
it's
polish
true.
it up a bit and make it a part of your act, which, you know what?
That's true.
So yeah, that's how it works sometimes. But HBK Tommy 4031 had a different question. Which Animal Planet show features women getting attacked by snakes? Which I think is a fair question.
Fair question, yeah.
It's like, right off the bat, racism aside, your joke is, there's some issues here.
There's probably a subreddit dedicated to that, so don't worry.
Oh, certainly. I don't know if Animal Planet's the way to go.
Yeah, I don't think that's the service provider you're looking for, but I'm sure. I'm imagining the OP, like he's hitting the stage. He's honing his skills for a couple years, and then he premieres in Las Vegas as like the accidental racist. Like that's his shtick.
Oh, there's a lot of shticky comics out there, and one in particular I'm thinking that we're going to hear from in a little while.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, let's get to some more posts.
Yeah. So, it's Stubbs posted in Our Crippling Alcoholism.
One of our favorites lately.
Yeah, it's good. So, I dabble with doing stand-up comedy, and on Wednesday night, I thought it would be a good idea to get shit-bombed and go up there. A word of advice to any rational person: never give me a microphone when I'm that wasted. I fucked it up and made a fool of myself. I was slurring my words, forgetting my jokes, and just stalled until I got off. All of my coworkers were there, and all that, and I just feel crazy embarrassed and generally just pissed at myself. If anyone could give me some uplifting words to get me out of my shame spiral or have any funny similar situations to share, that would be dope. And a now deleted user commented, "This is a matter of perspective. You didn't bomb. You killed. Seriously, you did something your peers cannot do. So sure, you made yourself uncomfortable, but you stood tall. Did you do what Ashley Simpson did and run off the stage? No. Google some comedian stories about bombings. Look at Michael Richards. Every comedian, I would imagine, has that "so I was hammered on stage" story. It comes with the community. Anyone who gives you shit, tell them to try that while in the bag. And recognize you're probably dealing with some booze-related anxiety. Love yourself. We do."
Yeah. What a great community, huh?
Unfortunately supportive community.
Yeah, well, that is the problem. Yeah, the great thing about the subreddit is it's not a place to get healed of your crippling alcoholism, like you would think if you stumbled onto there drunk off your mind. Like, I'm finally gonna fix myself. Oh no, you're not. Not here, friend.
It's a great place to figure out how you can be absolutely shit canned at work, or not get shit canned at work while you're shit faced at work.
You're on the can taking a shit and sneaking wine.
Back in the tank.
I gotta say this. This guy, he said he fucked up, slurred his words, forgot his jokes, stalled a bunch. That sounds about on par with every open micer I've seen, so I don't think he should feel too bad about himself. Although, to be fair, many of them were probably very drunk as well. Certainly Daddy was, I would say, a couple times. Never forgot jokes, though. My problem would be practice the jokes way too much, and it just sounded
Flat.
Just yeah. It's hard to imagine my lively personality not coming across on stage, but sometimes it happens. So anyway, this is from our stand-up. Help! My bully is doing stand-up. Okay. This person made my life hell throughout college, and now they're succeeding as much as you can in quarantine at stand-up. It boils my blood to see this nice guy act, knowing that they kind of ruined my life. Have you ever had an experience with a bully or someone you don't like from your past finding success in comedy? How did you deal with it? Am I completely crazy? User Outbound 1996 responded, first off, you don't deserve the abuse you have received, and I don't know what you have been through, but I hope this helps. Whenever I start to feel jealous or angry that someone I think is a jerk doing well, I try to remember that life is long, and even if they are succeeding right now, they are going to experience pain and hard times. In addition, bullies often get diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder or something similar, which is highly correlated abuse. I get by knowing that even when people are assholes to me, it's probably because of whatever they have going on. Just hoping the routines don't have anything to do with you.
God damn.
But however, user Frank and That's It had his own vice for the OP. You are a whiny cunt. Because of this, it's hard to even know if you were bullied at all, and then you probably deserve some of it. So, different perspectives on our stand-up.
Frank, thank you so much.
This guy is Frank. You gotta and that's it. Really, the username checks out.
The lack of self-worth that you have to have in order to go online and post that your quote-unquote bully is doing better than you, like as an adult, is
in college.
Really sad.
College-age bully? These are two grown-ups?
Yeah, he used to what do you do? Shoulder check you into the lockers? Like you're 18 years old. Just knock the guy out.
You can buy alcohol and you're getting swirlies. Yeah, it's tough.
Some people do deserve to be bullied. And speaking of somebody getting bullied, I found this interesting news article about comedian Andrew Schultz. A comedian has sparked outrage after mocking a woman with epilepsy who had a seizure during his show. On April 7th, Andrew Schultz posted a 10-minute video to his YouTube channel, which has been seen almost 80,000 times. He wrote, "This was wild. I was doing shows in Orlando, and then all of a sudden, a woman in the audience passed out. Turns out she was having a seizure. It was crazy, but hey, the show must go on." The video shows the organizers rushing to the woman's aid after an audience member called out for help. Not long after, Mr. Schultz returns to the stage as the epileptic woman is slowly led out. He asks her if she's okay and reassures her not to be embarrassed. After the woman left, he impersonated her shaking body during the seizure and said, "In your mind, you're not thinking anyone's going to die, so when you see her laughing, really going, you're like, yo, this girl got a sense of humor." He then added further jeers such as, "I'm going to roast this bitch for almost dying at my show." He added further fuel to the fire as he is seen mocking a concerned member of the audience. One woman, who turned out to be a paramedic, called out, "That's not funny," to which Mr. Schultz replied, "White women are something special. A bitch almost died and you made it about you." As the woman tries to explain why she was upset, he further aggravated the situation by telling her that he didn't care. So this article got cross-posted to Reddit, where Wouldn't Know, however, commented, "I was there and sat right behind the woman. It was kind of scary at first and the paramedics came in, but Andrew kept it lively afterwards."
Oh, good. Well, you know what? That's what a comedian's supposed to do, you know?
Real roll with the punches kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. Roll with the woman who's rolling around on the floor. Yeah.
So this bitch almost died.
This dumb bitch. To be fair, if you go to Andrew Schultz Twitter, the header says Andrew Schultz unsafe comedy. So,
ooh, always a good sign. real edgy.
I've never heard of this guy. Okay, I think he's got 200,000 followers, and I'm seeing the people that he's friends with on there, and he's one of these. I would say New York podcast comedian guys like your Shane Gillis, I think, guys like that.
Sure.
So he's generally unsaved. Tim Dillon, all these unsaved comedians. I'm sure he's probably actually funny. I've never heard of him, and I wish him luck.
Let's get him on the show.
Yeah, user Gatsby Jr. posted this review on Reddit. Seinfeld's new Netflix special is a masterclass on crushing. I have 3 words for Seinfeld's new Netflix special, 23 Hours to Kill, released yesterday. Couldn't be better. Are you a fellow student of comedy? Count this as required viewing. Watching one of the greatest of all time at peak performance will make you better at your craft. I was a bit thrown by the disrespect I saw from this sub last week when the trailer dropped. The running themes I observed were that Seinfeld is smug or overrated or, quote, blank is better. Now let's tackle each one of these separately because they're each in their own special category of ignorance. 1. He's smug. Yeah, that's kind of the whole point. Smug has been Seinfeld's comedic POV since before Seinfeld. It's what got him Seinfeld. So he's not smug because of Seinfeld. He's smug because he is Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm.
2. He's overrated. Nope. He's a living legend, and deservedly so. 3. Blank is better. Well, that's your opinion, but it's probably wrong too. Why? Because blank is likely either heavily influenced by Seinfeld or they're influenced by someone who was. On the off chance that's not the case, would blank be as funny if they had to work clean for an hour? In conclusion, there is no angle you can look at Seinfeld's career or new special that doesn't warrant reverence. He is the GOAT, and 23 Hours to Kill steals it again. And here's some responses. Future Legend said this: your hyperbole makes this read like satire, which is tough. Dances with Labias said, LOL, this special fucking sucked, in all caps, which I appreciate. And finally, Crowdsourcing Genius said this: Seinfeld will be entertaining if A, he didn't smirk at his own jokes, and B, he was funny.
Yeah, so, there's the caveat there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was going through the notes on here, it made me kind of think like that. I think what makes the Jerry Seinfeld character so endearing is that he's like a caricature of Jerry Seinfeld himself. Sure. But at the core, he's also like a deeply unlikable character because he's a character of Jerry Seinfeld himself. Like that is not somebody you'd want to know, right, in real life. Like if you think of the show itself. So it's just kind of funny to see like, yeah, he's this, he's a stand-up comic and he's an asshole. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, and he's like not very funny. Gatsby Jr. too as a username. That stinks.
Yeah, and the thing about Seinfeld is he's literally a billionaire now, but he was the least good part about the show with his own name on it.
Oh, no, for sure. Yeah.
And like he wasn't even the brains behind the show, and he was the shittiest of all the main characters on there. It's insane that people hold him in such high regard. Oh, and he, another thing he likes to do is to rape children.
Okay.
Because he used to date a teenager when he was in his 40s.
Yeah, so. But I've seen the photos and I'm gonna give him a pass.
Well.
Anywho, a guy named Bart Harris, who is an amateur comedian and YouTuber, never a great mix, tweeted this out: "Stand-up comedy going well again. People laughed. Now I don't have to kill myself. A good day on balance. 0 likes and 0 faves on that one." So.
Well, Bart, I don't know if that response helps in any way. Oh, that's tough, man.
That is that seems to be a common thread with the stand-up people that I follow.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: if you're doing stand-up and people are laughing, you are definitely way better than 99% of them out there. So keep it up, Bart. Boy, I follow a lot of or I don't follow, but the local Tampa group. There was all the stand-ups. Someone told them that you don't just go up and do comedy. You have to create profiles and business cards and stuff for yourself.
God.
I received business cards from several of these guys who have never been paid money to do stand-up before.
It's just the at-home print thing. Like it's slightly. It's like slightly off.
Some of these are these are. It's worse. They paid money for good business cards, but they haven't made money from being funny. So.
I'm sorry.
Like someone told them, like, oh, if you want to make it in this business, forget jokes that make sense. You got to have a good business card. And
they're just like going about life like a used car salesman. They're like, this is gonna impress people. Oh yeah. Man.
I think they literally do think of it as like, oh, if I just do this every night, I'm just gonna be a professional, So this is just the first couple steps, and the idea that there's any sort of craft to it is not really. Haven't thought about that part yet. So back in 2016, the idea was that one of the benefits to Donald Trump being elected was that comedy would be better than ever. Well, let's see if that's true by reading some Trump jokes over at our stand-up shots.
No.
All right, here we go, folks. This one was posted by user Carlos Does the World. Hey, I sweat so much, my armpits look like a Donald Trump at a tax audit. Antonio Aguilar posted this one. Every time I see Trump is still alive, I'm like, hey, COVID, you had one job.
Oh, come on. These are like jokes that you make to make fun of people making those jokes. Okay. All right.
Chase Miska posted this one. Forever 21 is closing. That's ironic. They are filing for bankruptcy, which leads me to believe they must have finished reading Trump's The Art of the Deal, specifically Chapter 11.
Oh, come on, man.
Nate Bymel posted this one here. Trump should make the wall out of Hillary's emails since no one can get over them.
Man.
Twitter twitting on that one. What do you think?
Twitting all of them. That place is like...
Oh, there's more, by the way.
I know. Go on.
And this one's from Andrew J. Rivers. The UN released a report that says the hole in the ozone layer could be completely healed by 2060. They say it could be healed even sooner if Trump stops using so much hairspray. And a gentleman on Reddit responded to that with this one. This is the kind of joke that Jay Leno would leave as a suicide note.
That's a good joke.
That is funnier than everything that's posted on that subreddit. Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh boy.
That place is like the elephant graveyard.
I'm sweating
of jokes
from that. Oh, it's all
so uncomfortable.
Bad. I can't imagine saying those things on stage in front of people.
And then thinking it was so good that you Photoshop that joke on top of an image of yourself and put it online.
I have an act. I do 5-10 minutes, but this is the best thing from that act. I'm going to put it on Reddit.
So I was talking to Philly Matt earlier this week, and he was saying,
yes.
Yeah, for the listeners out there, and he said that the only thing he could think of that would be worse than this subreddit would be like a podcast version of it.
Ooh.
It's
Folks.
just a picture. It's just a picture of like a guy and a microphone, and then like like a quote
podcast shots.
Yeah, podcast shots. So, so what I did is I took a picture of myself with a mic, and then just photoshopped, "Man, that stinks" over top of it in quotes, and sent it to him. I was like, "There you go. That's what this would be like for our show."
I think if I don't do it, I want one of you listeners to create our podcast shots, and then that will be truly dire moment that will. It would be the butterfly flapping its wings that leads to the re-election of Donald Trump. Like it would be what makes that happen.
Oh,
I can't wait.
God. That's so bad, man. Well, taking it a little different direction. This is a weird thread I found from a guy named Sam Grezes on Twitter.
Okay.
The best YouTubers, streamers, and content creators make themselves the butt of the joke instead of punching down. I saw this slide into punching down happen in real time with Epic Mealtime. It started as a fun, wacky, and stupid idea, and then when they started making money, they built these over-the-top satirical characters for the cast. At first, it was satire, but they became so popular with their new ultra-hedonistic personas that they either chose to, or were forced to, lean into them until the joke was lost.
Sure.
And this shit happens all the time with YouTubers. It's the story of how a stand-up comic from Nebraska is forced into being Larry the Cable Guy after he debuts a character at a local show, taken to an incredibly problematic extreme. When your work is public and necessarily intertwines with who you are as a person, it's hard not to become the character. You hear about this all the time with actors, and it leads to people hating their guts. So I'm not aware of anyone actively hating Larry the Cable Guy, maybe just passively.
Sure.
Who, by the way, has a net worth of $100 million.
Good God.
So it's really sad to see him have to resort to becoming some sort of hee-haw character for the sake of his comedy.
Sure.
I really hope he can pull himself up by his bootstraps to get her done with this one. So
yeah, $100 million. That's funny. You know, he started stand-up in Florida, in Orlando, actually, I believe he did.
Was that when he was on moonlighting when he was not doing cable stuff? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, he was just old Dan Whitney. He was like, there's videos of him just as himself in like very extremely 80s comedian.
The oversized suit,
mullet, the whole thing, yeah, and just the shit. The thing about Larry Cable Guy is, you know, easy to mock, but if you go and watch some of those specials, you know what? Some good jokes there. Some good jokes. The reason why is because he has like 15 guys writing for him.
That's right.
Which helps.
Yep.
Which is how like Rodney Dangerfield, guys like that. When you're a certain level of rich, you're just like, I'm not going to write jokes.
I no longer work.
Yeah.
I go out there for an hour maybe, and then I go home.
I just be rich, and then I cut sleeves off my $10,000 shirt, and then go out there and be Larry the Cable Guy.
And he kills. He's so good,
absolutely,
folks. We love him.
Get her done.
Thanks for that.
The Wolf Emperor posted this in the Diaper Talk subforum of the website adisc.org. Comedian in Depends pull-up. I had an open mic last night. The cafe is in West Lynn, Massachusetts, and that involves me walking from the bus depot and train station to the cafe and back, which can be really frustrating as Lynn itself is a rough town and there are no public restrooms open late at night. I wore a pull-up because I knew that I'd be waiting a while when I got to the depot after my set. I made my exit shortly after this set, as Lynn is not a place I want to get stuck in for very long. At the depot, I was mentally reliving the evening, trying to decide what I did right, what I could improve, etc. The urge to pee didn't strike until about 10 minutes before the bus got there. I don't mess around when I have to pee. I did the controlled burn thing, letting a small stream out every few seconds to give the pad time to absorb the moisture. The bus ride home wasn't as bad as one of those nights when I'm desperate, but when I got back to Salem, there was a snag. Sitting on the bus caused my penis to shift, and when I let a bit more out, a small trickle went down my pant leg. That's gonna cost me, I thought. So I spent a few minutes walking home with another desperate urge building up. When I was sure I was relatively safe from gawkers, I tried to reposition my penis as best as I could, and I let out a little more, slowly this time. It took off the edge a little bit, and I had a flicker of hope when I saw a porta potty at Salem Commons. Of course, it was locked. I made it home without fuss, and the release was worth the wait. So here's some other threads that the Wolf Emperor is active in recently.
Uh-huh.
What's your best diaper find at a Goodwill or resale center? Diapers during pagan or witchcraft rituals? And finally, just because there's a diaper between your legs doesn't mean you have to act like a brat, which is fantastic advice for all of our listeners out there. And that'll do it for this week's free little teaser of the stand-up comedy episode 105. Of course, the entire episode will be found over at patreon.com/reportthispost. This one just came under 2 hours, so you have a whole extra almost 90 minutes of content over there. Plus, the previous week, since we launched this whole new program, we've had a lot of folks hop on, and they seem to be enjoying it. Undoubtedly, you will enjoy it as well. It's only $5 a month. You gotta have that. If you don't have that, you probably shouldn't have a phone to listen to a podcast. So what I'm saying is you can't afford not to sign up for the Report This Post Patreon at patreon.com/reportthispost. Goodbye, everybody.